Have you ever really considered that there is one person that is super central to everyone who is important, who is valuable to your life, that you have never met? This person pops up in every relationship you have ever had or will ever have. And that's a person that you don't actually know. And it's you. Yeah. And me. For me, obviously. um, yeah. And it's so easy to say, like, oh, I've never met myself. But when we take that in, when we truly like bathe in that, the implications of that, I don't know. That's just the most fascinating thing. Yes. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Josefin. Warmly welcome to join in and stay as long as you like. And if you're a regular viewer, then warmly welcome back. Today, I am inviting you to one of my favorite daily walk spots. It's a local cemetery here in Gothenburg, Sweden. And something about cemeteries that I quite enjoy. It's like there's no room for facades here. Whoever lives here, or whoever's buried here, everything that wasn't truth, everything that wasn't actually contributing to the beauty of living a life, that's been stripped away. There's no more fooling themselves or pretending that things were valuable and precious when it wasn't. And that's a reminder to me, I think, to make sure that I pay my attention or put my focus on things that actually matters, on things that makes life abundant, to not miss out on the jewels, not shut life out, to live it. Yeah. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about ourselves, and the fact that we don't know ourselves. And actually, I think walking distracts me a bit. So let me find a spot. So speaking of you being someone you've actually never met, I don't know, for me that sparks joy and a bit of almost like you're standing on the edge of a cliff. I think it really dawned on me when I started to think about my brother, actually. I have a 3-year younger brother. And I realized that we grew up in completely different families. Because I grew up with 2 parents and a brother. And that's kind of when I think about my family, that's how I think about it. And then I insert myself. But probably when he thinks about his family of origin, he had 2 parents and an older sister. And I've never met her. I don't know what it was like for him growing up with her. Because I've never met his sister. And what that does to us, for me, it sparks curiosity. Like, who is she? How is she perceived from the outside? Would I enjoy spending time with her? Because when I show up as myself, I see my internal world. I see my thoughts and my emotions, and I see my intentions. And somehow it's so easy to assume that that is what other people see as well. But they don't. They hear what I say, they see my facial expressions, but they don't actually know what goes on inside of me. They have a completely different view of me than I have. And that can easily bring self-consciousness or an invitation to start to perform. And I guess it could, but for me, it brings liberation, I think. And it's also not so, it brings more invitation of what they see from the outside or how I'm perceived in relationships is only their perspective, not in making it less valuable, but rather upgrading it. It is not a threat. I know what my intentions were. And if there's a misalignment, there is an opportunity to correct that. If what they perceive isn't actually what I intended to send out, I have a possibility to correct that. And then it gives liberation to other people, because the thing is, if I've never met myself, they have never met themselves either. And that liberates them somehow, because they don't know that they sound annoying when they keep persisting the same thing. They don't know that their humor sometimes comes across as pretty harsh, because maybe on the inside, they see it completely different. Maybe they're actually using humor as a defense mechanism. And that's obvious from the outside, but they're not aware of that from the inside. They see something else. And this thing, it's almost like we're looking at a play, but one person is looking from behind the scenes and one person is sitting in the audience. And the one sitting in the audience, they don't see the staff behind the scenes running with the, how do you say, like this lighting and changing the dynamic of the backdrop and things. So we're not meeting. It's not two people meeting, even though we sit face to face. We're watching the screen from, or we're watching this play from completely different perspectives. And then it doesn't become an evaluation of me, because I don't know what my show looks like. I don't know what it's like to sit in the audience when I am alive. All I know is how it feels to get dressed, how it feels to put on makeup, how it feels to have someone commenting in my ear. But the audience knows nothing of that. And then to be invited to someone else of what it's like behind the curtains for them. What is it like to put up this show called Aliveness for you? Is it different for me? And what I see in the audience, is that what you're trying to, is that what you actually put out? Or is there a piece missing? Maybe you forgot to put on the music, and then your musical all of a sudden sounds like a monologue. Mm. Actually, I feel like I'm too far away from you. Well, hang on, let me get back to walking around again. I'm still in this discovery phase. And the same is true for YouTube, actually, because YouTube, recording these videos, is making me face myself from a different angle. I get to see myself when I edit the videos. It's just me and the video and the editor. And I realize sometimes that I'm editing a video for a person I don't actually know, because the way things come out on the outside isn't the way it feels on the inside. I mean, they're pretty close, I guess, but they're just different. And that is me observing myself while knowing what goes on inside of me at the same time. But when I meet other people, they don't have the two stories. They don't have the backdrop and the and the play in action either. Yeah. What is it like for you? Have you thought about this? And what does it awaken in you to have people you're in relation with, that you have conversation with, that you maybe work together with, maybe that you're in a partnership with? You've never met the person they're partners with, that you haven't met the person they're in love with. And if we try to control the narrative, this can be, I mean, it can be frightening anyway, but it's especially frightening if we're trying to control the narrative. If we're trying to show up in a specific way, then we want to control how they perceive us. And then it's super scary that we've never met this person. But if we give them total freedom to experience us however they experience us, and we just try to, we're curious about how we do show up. And is our love coming through? Is our curiosity, are our boundary markings clear? Whatever it is, you get to see yourself through someone's eyes, even if it's unpleasant. But the fact that it's unpleasant through someone else's eyes doesn't mean it came from an unpleasant space inside. Yeah. Mm. I'm allowing myself to be unknown to myself. I guess that's the heart of it. It opens up for this realization that I am unknown to me. I am a person I get to know through other people. And other people are so much more than meets my eye. And if I stay curious and if I invite them in, I can see who they actually are, who they are from their perspective. When I interpret that they're rejecting me, maybe they're just acting out fear. Maybe it's something I did before that triggered that for them. So relationship also becomes like this dance more, rather than a battle of trying to uphold an image of myself. I can welcome in a mirroring that's more truthful, if that makes sense. It's not so scary how I look in other people's eyes, because that doesn't change how I come across from the inside. Yes. And that keeps it constantly alive. The curiosity for who I am. I mean, not am in the sense of my essence, but who I am in the world, how I'm perceived, how other people receive what I'm trying to convey, or because all I have is this body and these words. And that's so limiting in comparison to what goes on inside of me. So how do I make the backdrop shine through so that we can have intimacy, we can have connection? I can get to know other people behind the stage. If I let go of the idea that that's who they are. And the fact that they say things that they might not mean in those ways. So to find out what it's actually coming from. Because they are not who I see, not to themselves. Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this very unplanned little adventure. And please do share in the comments if this awoke something in you, if you want more on a specific topic, then please share that as well. Or if you have drawn a different conclusion from this. See you next time.